Hey GED students, welcome to this week's video. Normally we're doing math subjects, but we do need to cover other subjects as well. So, back in September we did basic shapes. In October we did algebra, specifically basic equations. And this month we're turning the page a little bit and going to social studies. Social studies is another GED test, and that I always get questions on. And so we're going to be spending the month covering GED Social Studies. And so this particular week we're covering comprehension questions, and next week we'll be doing evaluation questions, and then we'll do analysis questions, and then we'll wrap it up with application questions. So if you like this kind of video, please like it. Make sure you subscribe so that you know when videos are coming out. But every Thursday night here at 6 p.m. we drop these videos here for you to use. So let's go ahead and jump into comprehension questions. So on the screen here, you see a typical GED styled social studies question. So you see some type of visual prompt. And so in this case, you have a chart that's giving us information, and we'll come back to that in a second. And then you have a question or a direction in this case. List the nations in order from least to greatest in terms of their GDP. Okay, so comprehension questions, let me just say up front here, comprehension questions are questions that you can specifically go back to the text or specifically go back to the picture display, graphical display, and get the answer. So there's no kind of review necessary. There's no kind of analysis. There's no kind of really reasoning. It's just specifically going back to the given information and answering the question based upon what is there. And so comprehension questions make up part of the kinds of questions that you can be asked. The second thing I want to say is the GED Social Studies and the GED Science and the GED RLA, especially the reading portion, they're all reading tests, right? So it just happens to be about social studies information. So you don't have to memorize historical facts or what a GDP is, but you just need to be able to read it and work with it in terms of the question. So here's a very simple question that we're going to work through today, the comprehension question. And it says list the nations in order for least to greatest in terms of their GDP. So now what I want to show you is that you want to come over here, and I'm going to use my highlighter here. And so you always want to highlight and get in your mind, what are you looking at? So you're looking at GDP of large world economies, and you have three colors here. And so the first color is blue, and that color is indicating the USA. The second color is purple, and that color is indicating China. And then the third color is green, and that's indicating Japan. Okay, so you can see Japan's here, China's here, and USA is here. So now to answer that question, you're just specifically looking at the information they're giving you, and then we're going to take Japan and put it there. We're going to take China and put it there. We're going to take US and put it there. So let me just do that. Japan, China, and then USA. So again, those kinds of questions are easy, but again, you really want to be able to think through these, because these are the questions that you do not want to miss by not reading thoroughly. And so it says list in order from least to greatest. And so on the GED test, we know that there's drag and drop questions. This probably would be like a drag and drop question, and the key here is least. So least, Japan, then China, and then to the greatest in terms of GDP, USA. Let's move on to the next question. So now we have a second type of question, because on the GED Science and the GED Social Studies test, there are some math applications, and so this incorporates both comprehension and math. And so let me just put that up here, comprehension plus math. And so in this particular question, it says, by approximately what percent did China's GDP increase between sorry, there's a typo there, it's supposed to say 2014 there. Let me just write that in. Between 2014 and 2016. Okay, so the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to identify China. So China's right here, it's the purple. And then 2014, you see, is there. and then 2016 you see is there. But you don't know specifically what that is, and it does say approximately. So how would you kind of figure that out? Well, here, let me give you a couple hints. So if this is 10 and that's 12, halfway through is 11, right? And so that 10, that point there is probably, let's just call it 10.8. And again, this is approximately because 11's right in the middle. And so that line hits there right a little bit beyond the middle. And then again, if that middle point right there is 11, and then that's 12 up there, we're going to call that 11.8. Again, this is just approximate. So now you have in 2014, you have it was 10.8. And then in 2016, you have 11.8. Again, this is approximately, but this is just using some number sense now. This is 10, that's 12, so 11's right in the middle. And then just kind of taking an educated guess of what that number might be. So now we do a little bit of percentage, and this is where the math comes in. So where you take the new number and you subtract it by the original number and you divide it by the original number, and then that will give you 0.092 and a bunch of other numbers. And then you take that decimal and convert it to a percent, boom, boom. So that gives you 9.2%. And so this is approximate, and we're just, a rough estimate, but 9, because nothing is as close to that. Now, I do want to point out something. So you've done all this math and you figure that out and you say, oh, that's about 11.8, that's about 10.8, where there is a 1% difference, right? But that's not what the question is. The question says approximately what percent did it increase? So not in terms of going from 10.8 to 11.8. That's why that 1 is there to see if you are misreading, right? So if you misread that, you might select 1%. And this is why people fail the GED Social Studies test, because they're missing the fineness of the language. So the most important thing I'll tell you as we're going through this comprehension question is that it is so important to make sure you read carefully. So it says, by what percent did it increase, right? Not what the difference was of being 10 point, of being here versus here, but the percentage of the increase from here to here. And that percentage would be a 9.2 percent increase. And of course, we know that these numbers are in billions, so we're just using smaller numbers just to make our math easier. But that's how we get that 9%. So if you like videos like this, please like it. Again, as I mentioned earlier, make sure you subscribe so you get all the videos that will be coming out this month. And look forward to catching you in the next video. One final thing I will say is that we do have our online GED course for social studies that is available, and you can see that at mygedlive.com. Thank you.